Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rat Sound Review. This is album versus album.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can't believe you guys got on board with
You like a lot of cheesy stuff. I can't even say that because I like some cheesy stuff too.
That's one of the best songs on this record.
But I was forced to listen to the debut for this album, and I was impressed.
I feel like the title track is a little weak, honestly. Am I gonna get crucified for saying this?
Yeah.
Nope. Please get me off this fucking program.
Welcome to album versus album. What's up, guys?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Or morning. It's been a while. I don't know what time it is.
I don't know either. Well, my time is 10:44 p.m.
Ah, crap. I forgot to show my fucking records for the thing.
No, you can show them for this show. It's all right. Whatever. Save them for next week.
Yeah, well, I want it to be. I don't know when this is going to air. Never mind, I'm fucking it up. Just go.
Gonna end up. I don't know when it's gonna air either. I don't know. Usually airs on Sundays, but I might change that. Who knows? Anyway, today's episode is Ram versus Attic, and this was a request show. Our first request.
Yes, it was.
He didn't give me any specific album to do by Ram or Attic, so I kind of just picked it.
Requested this. Sorry, but whoever the hell requested this, why was this the Ram album you picked?
Well, like I
That's
just
what I
said,
wanted
if
to
you listen to me, he didn't give me a specific Ram album. He just wanted any Ram album. And since the first Ram album I listened to was Death, I said, let's do Death.
Mm.
Okay.
Because I like Death.
Really?
Yeah. So
Boring as hell. Well,
this episode is for Evil Jackalopes on Twitter. So if you have a problem with this pick, you can blame him. And yeah, who wants to start? Well, actually, first, Ram, they are a band from Sweden. They started started in 1999, released their first EP, Sudden Impact, in 2003 on their own label. The band also recognized by Germany's Rock Hard magazine as one of the best newcomers in 2004. I better hear silence. In 2010, they released their third album, which we are reviewing today, Death. And that's all I gotta say. Who wants to go first?
you can, if you want.
I'm going to start off by saying
All right,
what I
Nathan.
think about this album is not what I think about Ram, because I listened to Rod right after it, and I thought it was much better.
Okay.
But this album really doesn't show all that much promise from the first listen.
Right.
Which I did listen to a couple of tracks more than once. I listened to I think it was Under the Scythe or something, more than once. Yeah, that was an alright track. There were a couple of alright tracks. But for the most part, nothing really stood out for me. Like, the mixing is very generic, the tone's very generic. Even the singing doesn't really reach any high or low end. Which is what shocks me about them being around so long before this album came out. You'd think they would have hit their stride by then.
You would think so. I do see what you're saying. It did take me a while to like the vocals. It's not the strong thing on here, but I like the mix. I like the sound of this album. It reminds me of like Judas Priest, like Point of Entry era Judas Priest. Even though I hate that album, but it reminds me of that like era of Judas Priest.
Well, you're wrong. It's a great record.
Like that album.
What, Nate? What'd you say?
I heard Greg. Only people who drive in Arizona like that record.
What is that supposed to mean?
Desert Plains, dumbass.
Literally,
I understand that.
That album is literally made to drive around in the desert in.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
What
do you think that album covers about?
Not necessarily the desert. They recorded it and wrote it like while they were on the beaches in Ibiza, Spain.
Yeah. So maybe the road on the album cover is like a mirage. Ever think about that?
Well, oh, right. The U.S. cover. Yes.
Yeah, the other cover's retarded. Makes no sense.
What are you talking about? It's a mountaintop piercing the sky.
No, and it's like a weird image. Like, distorted image.
No.
The original image, the original cover, or one of the covers, the only one I have, is the one that's got like the desert and then the road that goes like out into the distance.
Yeah,
and then there's another one that's got like this
it's
pointy
clearly-
thing.
I don't know why out of all
It's
the
not-
Priest
you know
albums
what?
you would want
God
to sound
damn
like.
it.
Yeah, get it, because it's like some weird image. I don't know what the hell it is. Makes no sense to me. Just looks like a distorted image of the other picture.
I don't know. To me, it's like out of all the Priest sounds you could have gone for, Point of Entry was the one you picked.
I know. It's not one of my favorite Priest albums. But
Like you could have gone for Exciter if you wanted to go for like.
yeah.
It's a rock face. It's a cliff piercing the sky.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
I still don't see it. It's just ugly. It's a stupid cover.
Well, whatever. It has a purpose, is my point.
What purpose is that?
Jesus Christ, it's a point of entry. Is this really that hard to understand?
How's that a point of entry? It's a rock or a mountain.
I don't know. Pantera never had any.
Because it's
cowboys.
piercing the sky, it's making the point of entry into the sky. You know, you get it. Same thing with like the road and going down to its vanishing point.
That I understand. But if it was like like going into a tunnel or something, that would make more sense. But that makes no sense to me. Anyway, we're talking about Ram. Death. Not fucking Judas Priest. I said it sounds like that.
I don't know. Ram really
Well-
does sound like.
Well,
Priest.
I had to show at least one good album on this show.
Hey, the Attic album started getting good after.
We didn't get to that yet, so shut up. I like the opening track. Comes from the Mouth Beyond. I like the verses. It's kind of like Black Sabbath-ish. And I think they're catchy, and the chorus part's catchy too. You guys don't like that first song? And the opening track is cool too. Which is weird because the opening track, that little interlude thing, sounds nothing like the rest of the album.
Drumming is lame.
The
drumming
whole
is lame.
album
sucks.
sounds the same. It's
Yes.
boring as hell. This is a good road trip album. It's okay to listen to on a long car ride because it's not annoying and there's going to be guitar parts at points that are loud that'll keep you awake, but it's not really good
If
either.
you want something to shut up your
It's
kids, you like
listenable.
old school heavy
It
metal,
is listenable.
Which, if
It's not
they
the-
do, you have cool kids. If you want
Right.
something to shut them up, but you're sick of listening to British Steel, put on this album.
Yeah.
But you do hear the Judas Priest comparisons, though, right?
Duh.
Yeah.
Not really. I think it sounds like all that
Even the name
disturbed
Ram,
bullshit
I
in the
think
early
Ram-
2000s.
You said that in the messages. I do not. How could you get disturbed out of this? I don't
Because
understand.
it sounds
Yeah.
like it.
No,
No.
it doesn't.
No,
You're
it doesn't.
fucking-
Not at all.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't
Just
hear.
'cause
That's
you
what
have
it sounds
glasses-
like. It
Just
sounds
because
like
you have glasses
it's-
doesn't mean you're smart.
it sounds like bland early 2000s rock and metal.
No.
It's
No, it
it's
sounds
boring.
like
It's
bland.
derivative.
It sounds like bland '80s new wave of British heavy metal. It
Right.
sounds
It
like
wishes
Korn.
it could sound
It sounds
good.
like Fist. It sounds like Demon. It's fucking boring and lame old school heavy metal.
It ain't boring,
Courts
lame.
and Fist
It's
have
like-
good songs, though. This band is shit.
Oh,
This band has great songs, just not
Yeah.
on this album.
right.
This album's awful.
No, listen
It's
to
not
Rod.
terrible.
Fuck this album.
listen to Rod.
Don't listen to Rod.
Listen to the other albums. They have, like I said before. in
Rod
our chat-
reminds me of like Defenders of the Faith. I fucking
Right.
love it.
Yeah, it's a good album. They have some good albums. Anyway, Release Me, the second track, basic rocker, but it's got really cool guitar riffs and sounds similar to Thin Lizzy, Cold Sweat. Probably
I
don't.
never
remember.
got into Thin Lizzy.
Well, you're gonna have to because we're gonna do a Thin Lizzy show at some point.
I'm down to get into Thin Lizzy because I never did as a kid. I was more of a Zeppelin kid.
Yeah, no, you will. When you start getting into Thin Lizzy, then it doesn't stop. You want to keep listening.
Right.
Again, that's another catchy song to me. Release Me, and Frozen. This song stays pretty much like the same throughout throughout the whole song. Frozen.
Oh God, that song was. I had to skip 2/3 of the way through that.
You didn't like that song? See, I like that shit. It's
God,
like it's
it
a
just
Doom type
drugged.
feel to it. Oh, but it's so
It
cool.
was like a matter of life and death era Maiden. That's how hard
That might
it
be why I
drugged.
like it. But it also reminded me of Heaven and Hell from Sabbath, like the first half of the song.
No. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be like the first half of the song. The first half of the song is an intro. It's a long Dio ballad. It's like listening to most of it. It's like listening to Stairway to Heaven up until he goes, and as we wind on down the road. It's like, why would you want to skip that part of the song? Like, what?
Well, they did speed up a little bit at the end of it. It's not as good as that song, but it's still. I like that kind of stuff.
This might be the thrash talking, but like, speed up at the front of it.
Right. Well, that's not what this song is for, though. This song is a laid-back song.
Speed up at the middle of it.
No, they didn't need to in this one. They already have a couple speedy songs.
Even Annihilator does too long of slow parts for me at times. It's just, ugh.
I don't mind it sometimes. I don't mind it. So, those are my 3 favorite songs. There's other songs I do like on the album. Greg, you already said your piece about it.
Yeah, I don't like anything from it. I don't find anything memorable.
Let me check the group chat, because that was the song name I put in it. Now I'm kind of high, so I can't remember it.
I wish I would have picked another album, because I wish I would have just picked the new album, because
Dude, if you
just the newest one is much better than this, but I still think they're pretty mediocre overall. I mean, somebody that likes the Deftones, I could see being into this, but the Priest comparisons and all that, I don't get it.
The Deftones don't sound anything like this.
Flames of the Tyrants was the only.
They sound more like this than Judas Priest.
Yeah, that's a good song too.
Flames of the Tyrants, because they start off a little quicker and they get it moving.
Yeah, this is total Priest.
If you think that this is going to be as good as Enforcer or Striker, look away.
See, I don't think those bands are good. I don't know who Striker is, but Enforcer, I tried listening to it. I didn't think that was good.
Oh, dude, Striker would be right up your alley.
Enforcer is amazing, but
Enforcer is fucking awesome live.
This band, Ram, even that new album that does sound better than this, it's not even the same fucking sport as Enforcer is.
It'd be like comparing Saxon to Priest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well. I'll have to listen to Enforcer then, I guess. Won't I?
Yeah. Destroyer is the song I'd recommend. That one's just fucking blazing out of the gate till the end.
Just get the Diamonds album.
Yeah, that's good. That's good advice. And then they got classic rocker ballads, too. Not like ballads, but like mid-paced.
All right, well, send it to me in the chat so I know what to listen to. Send me the YouTube video.
Sure.
All right. Next is Attic. They're a band from Germany. Yeah. They're a band from Germany. Got together in 2010. A lot of King Diamond and Mercyful Fate influences. And this is their second album that was released in 2017 called Sanctimonious.
This is like the Greta Van Fleet, but for King Diamond. It's like you need to find your own vocal style. You sound really good for what you're doing, but you need to find your own thing. Because some guy does it better, and he invented it.
Right. I don't mind people copying what King did, but this is almost to the point where he's trying to be too much like King.
Right.
And he goes too over the top. And he does the high...
He does the falsetto way too much. He fucking ruins every song.
Which is the worst part of King Diamond's vocals, in my opinion. They're the high, wimpy, whiny falsettos.
Right. Yeah, but he does them in the right times and the right spots and stuff like that.
He does them in the right times and the right spots. Still too much of it, though.
Yeah.
I liked it when they were faster, though. Especially after the first third of the album goes through. That's when it started kicking up. Although those melodic breaks were awful to have to sit through, which means I couldn't listen to the album in one sitting.
Yeah, this album was actually really too long, I think.
Yeah, by about 15 minutes.
Yeah, and the one I sent to you guys, it didn't have the like interlude things in between the songs, and I couldn't imagine what it sounded like with that shit in there because it was just too long.
Yeah, I would just say cut the slow shit and just become some kind of Exciter meets Ghost almost. That'd be really cool. Like not like Ghost in sound, but like spooky kind of like a spooky Exciter would be a really interesting sound for this band to try to pull.
Yeah. Also, too, what I felt was like every song almost sounded the same. I couldn't differentiate the songs from. I don't even know what the hell song was what, and it just.
See, and that's how I feel about the Ram album too.
What do you feel about this Attic album, though?
Same thing.
Same thing.
But it's better.
Yeah, it's better though.
I
mean, these guys actually had memorable parts to songs, and it actually sounds like classic heavy metal.
And it actually got riff writing. What? It's got riff writing, cool solos and shit. It's not just the vocals.
I don't know. We listened to the same albums. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel totally opposite on this. Totally opposite. This album, I'm gonna give my 0 through 10 ranking on this. I'm giving it a fucking 0. My first 0 I've ever given on this show. Because it did absolutely nothing for me. I remembered absolutely none of the songs. His vocals are terrible. Then I don't care that he's trying to mimic King Diamond, but please, enough with the falsettos. There's just too many of them. Figure out a different way to do it. It just doesn't work. And the music's boring. They're trying to be too much like a heavier version of Mercyful Fate, and it don't work for me.
It doesn't end up being heavier because it's boring.
Right. It's like a more of like a speed metal type Mercyful Fate or something. I don't know. I can't even describe.
It would be fucking cool. Could you imagine
it would be cool.
Like Exciter meets Mercyful Fate would be an awesome idea.
Yeah. But
like Ghostbusters meets Twisted Metal is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That'd be fucking cool.
It would be, but I don't know.
No, they choose to just make it melodic and boring.
Right. So what would you give this album, Nate, from 0 to 10?
0 being absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
Well, from all the promise I do hear in this band, I do have to give it a lot of credit because they could be something really good, and they're kind of branching out into that direction.
Yeah.
And it was passable enough for me because I get where they're going, and for what they're doing, they do sound enough like King Diamond for me to be. It's like Ripper Owens versus Rob Halford, except there's still a bit of a gap in this one.
Yeah.
That one's a lot closer.
Yeah.
I'd give it like a 5, 5.25. Because it's passable if you just want something to play in the background.
Yeah.
And you just want, especially if you want something to sleep to. When we started...
Can't sleep to this.
Yeah, you can. You can sleep to both of these.
October, especially with October just happening, it's getting that creepy atmosphere right.
Yeah.
I like that creepy atmosphere it's getting. And me being this total thrasher, I just want to send that creepy atmosphere into Nitro. I just want it to kick off. That'd be awesome.
Interesting. What about you, Greg?
I like some of the riffs on it. I like some of the parts that sound like Mercyful Fate, which is more than I can say for the other one. First of all, I didn't realize 0 was a possible option. We always did 1 through 10.
It is now.
Like Siskel and Ebert.
I'm not saying that the band sucks. It just doesn't do nothing for me. So it has to be 0.
Yeah, I'd have to give it a 1.5.
1.5. Right, good.
And it's only getting a half.
Your enjoyment, I give it 2.5. But because I did like hearing the fast stuff. But yeah, but if I'm taking overall quality into it, I'm putting it at 5.25.
I'd still give it a 1.5.
No,
Oh, and also another thing too, they use too much reverb.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's already bad
they do.
enough that you're singing with the falsettos and you can't enunciate as well.
Yeah.
When you're throwing the reverb on top of that, it's impossible to tell what the fuck you're saying.
Right. There's
And
like
that
another band.
that could be to cover up bad lyric writing. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. Or bad vocal harmonies or whatever. We did another band, Vulture. Remember, Greg?
Yeah.
It was really heavy with the reverb. It had reverb on everything, instruments, and vocals, everything.
Dude, that was tough to listen to.
Yeah. It was different.
Well, remember I told you I could only listen to it through my headphones because I tried playing it through the stereo and fucking everything started buzzing from the reverb.
Yeah.
Unless I put them on opposite ends of the room.
Right. Actually, I like that album though better than this Attic album. All right, so what are we giving the Ram album? I'm giving it a 5 because I actually do like a lot of songs on here.
I don't get that. That's based on pure enjoyment, a 0. Based on quality, a 1.
Really?
Because I know they do better things later.
Yeah.
If this is their only album, like a 0, it's boring.
See, I like it because it's got so many different things. It's got slow songs, fast songs, medium songs. It's got
society is slowly becoming.
No, you're wrong. What about you, Greg?
I give it a 1.
1? Holy shit.
Dude, just because the songs change tempos, they never fucking do anything. They play the opening riff over and over and over. That's all these songs are. It's absurd.
Bread Fan. It's like an entire album of Bread Fan by Budgie.
Yeah, both of these records are like that. Just the opening part of Bread Fan. Though.
Except I actually like Bread Fan because for some reason Budgie can do it. I like that song when Budgie does it, but if it was an entire album of the same riff over and over again, like this fucking Ram album is, I can't fucking take it.
Yeah,
you're both deaf.
Nope.
You're deaf. So I guess Attic is 1 because it hits 5.5 or no 5.25.
Yeah, the only reason I can give the Attic the extra half a point is just because there were a couple of riffs I liked, but I mean they're
Especially
pretty evenly matched in being terrible. I'll give it to Mr. Jackalopes, though, for challenging me with this to actually having to sit through and listen. It was interesting.
It was interesting. Well, sorry, Mr. Jackalopes. Well, hopefully we did a decent show for you. I tried. All right. Maybe next time you can pick us 2 albums that you actually want us to hear instead of having me do them. But it's as good as we can do.
Yeah, I mean...
now I kind of want to get stuff that I want Wayne to hear. Like, I want, like, Ex Mortis versus Enforcer.
All right.
Because I think he'd like both of them.
You can pick next week. Actually, it's been my turn for a while, but I'll let you pick. And it's been Greg's turn, too, so...
Well, whatever we do, you can bet damn sure it's going to involve spiritual healing.
Ooh, spiritual healing versus
spiritual healing versus sexual healing.
No.
Death versus
plague.
Well, I mean, death is obviously going to beat Marvin Gaye. I mean, it already has in more ways than one. But...
You don't know about that. You don't know about that. But anyway, that's for another show. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you maybe next week. I don't know. These album versus album shows have been kind of sporadic lately, so we'll see what happens. But if I let Nate do it, we'll be next week.
Well, if we're all around on Friday, well, never mind. I'll let you end this, then I'll say what I was going to say.
Right. Go to ratsaladreview.com. Check out all that stuff. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Just look up Rat Salad Review. You will find us. We will see you all next week. Until then.
Party on.
Farewell.
Party on, Greg. Party on.
Party on, Wayne.
And party on to you, the subscriber.
Our honorary Garth.
Our honorary Garth. I'm more of a Bill and Ted guy.
You are. Just keep your
Be
shirt.
excellent to each other.
Exactly. Bill and Ted did it first.
It did.
Yep.
That's true.
You know what's funny? The only reason I can remember that Abraham Lincoln's birthday is February 12th, 1809 is because it's in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yo, Socrates, dude.
It took me a long time.
These are my friends, Missy. Bob, Genghis Khan, Socrates Johnson.
It took me a long time to figure out what the hell Socrates was. I could not figure who the fuck is Socrates.
Oh,
Goodbye.